At the FayWhat Show, we want to introduce you to interesting people who are so important to our LGBTQ plus community. Let's take a look. Hey everybody, so I'm so excited about my next guest, all right? Let me tell you a little bit about VB. Von Biggs, baby. Doesn't he have like the best name like ever in life? Von Biggs. Yeah, like you could be like a porn star, you could be a political person, you could be a bank manager. You could work at Holy Cross, right? All those things with such a wonderful name like Von Biggs. All right, we'll get into more of that in a bit. So Von is a relentless force in Broward County, shaking up the status quo as he champions HIV awareness and health equity. His fearless leadership over at Holy Cross Health and the Broward County HIV Health Services Planning Council is revolutionizing access to care for marginalized communities. Von is a force, and we are happy to have him on the FayWhat Show. Von!
Yes.
I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here, finally.
Oh my God, how long have we been trying to do this for a while?
A long time.
You busy, bitch. Me too, though.
I know.
A little bit.
That's okay, though.
It is, right?
Right.
You know, when people bitch about being busy, I remember back when in my alcoholic career, right, that I would ask somebody to call me to see if my phone was working because nobody would call.
Oh my gosh.
So now I don't bitch about being busy, you know?
It's a great thing. It keeps us young. I mean, look at us.
It keeps us young.
Right?
It keeps us young and a little bit sane, you know?
Right.
I also come from the world where I think that when you're busy, it just means that the universe or higher power or God or whatever you believe in just needs you in a bunch of places.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed. And that's okay. Yeah. It's okay to spread yourself thin as long as you take time for yourself.
Exactly. Self-care is always important. Yep. And even though we're saying this to you, we probably don't take it. But you should, all right? Von, when did we meet? Do you remember when we met?
You know, the first time I met you was at, it was one of the galas that I went to.
Okay.
And because I met you and Tony.
Okay.
And he introduced
Mr.
you as his,
Lima.
Yeah. He introduced you as his wife, and I went, huh? What? What are you talking about?
You gay man.
Yeah, I was like, that's the first time I met you, and it was, God. And it's like we've been friends since.
And as we've been friends ever since. Yep. And when they caught you to be on Queer News Tonight, I was over the moon. You know, I've gotten to meet some incredible, exceptional people on Queer News Tonight. Please watch it weekdays. Mm-hmm. You know, and you're one of them. And I always tell the people at the seat, like, your seat is so special to you. Mm-hmm. You know, and everybody has a different opinion and a different walk of life to be able to express from this table, and you do it so well.
Right. Well, I think it's important because as I try to preach from what I do is your voice matters. Mm-hmm. So, and only you have that voice.
Exactly.
And there are people that can't speak or they don't have the courage or the heart yet to do that. Mm-hmm. So until then, I'll take their seat until they can step in and do it. But absolutely, I mean, everybody needs to speak up and speak out in the community.
I appreciate
it's important.
That. It is important, and you know, just like you touched on, a voice for the voiceless. You know, and by voiceless, I don't mean that you don't have a voice because everybody has a voice, right? But people, you know, we work at places that allow us to be our true, authentic self, right? I don't know about you, but I've worked at a place where they wanted me to be in the closet,
right? Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's a very common thing to happen. So. Like you said, we get to talk and be our loud and proud selves for those that maybe can't. And then that person maybe looks at you and goes, man, Von is speaking for me.
Yes, exactly.
You know, and it gives people hope. And hope is something that we desperately need a lot sometimes, you know. Let's talk about Holy Cross, because Holy Cross, I got to tell you that it would have never been something that I would have stopped and recognized and looked at because of its name. No offense, right? It just, you know, I'm part of that population that is freaked out, triggered by religious entities because of XYZ and being marginalized and being called an abomination your whole life and all that, you know? So let's talk a little bit about Holy Cross. So how long have you been at Holy Cross now?
So it'll be this September will be 2 years.
Oh, okay. Wow, you've done so much.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I wasn't expecting that. Sorry.
If I can't make an impact, why do something? And that's my goal in life. Is when I start something, I want to make an impact. And if I'm just sitting in a room and I'm not able to do anything for the community or for myself or to express what needs to happen, I'm in the wrong place.
Then you're in the wrong place, and you need to go to wherever it is that you're most needed. You know, it's kind of like your own personal mission statement. You know, and that's important to have.
Well, I moved down here 6 years ago, and I've worked in big corporations. I mean, I developed children's educational materials for Disney and Mattel, and sold to some of the largest national retailers in the country and the world. And I came down here to retire, but realized I couldn't retire.
Okay.
So I wanted to work, but then I said to myself, I want to do something I give back. to the community, because it's time. I've taken from community, being where I was. Now it's time for me to give all that back.
To give back. I love
and
that.
I feel like if I can do something that I'm passionate about and do that, it's a win-win for everyone.
Completely. So, you know, when I think of Holy Cross, I have to pause at the name, of course, right? Holy Cross. And in LGBTQ plus, many have doubts about getting understanding care from a religious facility.
Right.
You know, is Holy Cross Health a religious organization? How is that titled?
So we're under a Catholic doctrine, yes.
Okay.
Basically, but I think where people get confused is they think of the religion aspect of church, right? And well, you know, it was only up until a few years ago, the sisters were still at Holy Cross.
Okay.
And we've lost them all, so they've not replaced them.
Was that deliberate?
No, I don't think so. I just think it was I don't know really the dynamics behind it.
Okay.
But
because nuns can be hot. I'm just saying.
Well, yes, but at the same time, think about when the AIDS crisis came out. It was the nuns, it was the priests, it was all them. They were the ones first online.
And the lesbians.
Right. And as far as being there, taking care of AIDS patients, didn't care that they were gay or queer or whatever. You know, it was a matter of these people. It's dignity.
Yeah.
And when you look at and I'm a theologian, so I've grown up. I've been, you know, I love to study scripture from all the religious. I mean, I'm an artist, and I've taken classes where I've actually studied ancient biblical text from every religious angle that has the same text and created artwork from that understanding after taking all this. So it's very interesting to hear the stories of Cain and Abel and all these from all the different religious perspectives, and then be able to. But the common theme is love and dignity and respect. Yeah. And those are the values that they bring forth, and that's what I find when I go there, that's what they care about. Okay. And that sounds so beautiful, right? Like, why is it that as a marginalized community, I don't go there first? Right. Unfortunately, I go to the abomination, right? You know, when we go to a beautiful church, I love stained glass windows, Vaughn. Yep. I love the beauty that is in these beautiful monumental churches, right? Absolutely. And then after I gasp and take it in, then my second thought is, I'm not welcomed here. Right. You know, and that's a tough one. I love that, though. At the end of the day, it's about love. That's what it should be about, you know? And that is the first thing that they're presenting to you. As the community outreach coordinator over at Holy Cross Health, how do you build that trust with LGBTQ plus and Holy Cross to know that this is not just a religious entity? I guess for me, I go to Holy Cross. So they're my provider. And if I was to come into the community, and I've been involved in the community since I've been here, not necessarily with Holy Cross, but before that as well, being part of Ryan White, being part of the HIV community, I wouldn't want to recommend somebody to someplace that I didn't feel comfortable going to. I love that. And I've always said this, as a privileged white man. You're white? I know, right? As a privileged white man, and if I incur problems in accessing healthcare or other things, regardless of what it is, imagine what somebody that's not white and privileged has problems. So I always look at it from that angle, that we have to constantly push forward. Yes. And I get it. The religion aspect kind of I dealt with that with TransCon on the weekend. How many people were asking me about that specific question? At the same time, seeing a flyer on the table that we specialize in LGBTQ health. In a trans organization event, their biggest of the year. So it was a great conversation to have, because you have these people, and a lot of it's been hurt. It's trauma from church. It's from kids. It's from you know, those very those pastors that are very outgoing and very charismatic. You know, and then all of a sudden you see fire and brimstone, and that's not the case. It's I've not seen a single side of that within this organization. And I think that's been what's been awesome for me to be there. Well, and since you've seen it and you've lived it as being a patient there as well, you can talk about the experience because it's your experience, you know? Now, one thing is that you're not a trans man. You know what I mean? So we've all heard the stories of our siblings, especially our trans siblings, not getting the best care, not getting understanding care, not getting affordable care. Right. How does Holy Cross combat that with those siblings of ours? So it's a tough thing. We don't do surgeries, right? Of course. But we don't do the same surgeries for cisgender women. It's not a matter of, because you're trans, we can't do it. It's, we do have a Catholic directive that we have to honor. But general health care, Absolutely, we can take care of those needs. I mean, we have doctors in the Wilton Manors area that are treating current transgender patients.
Okay.
There are some specialized skill sets that need to happen, right, to deal with our trans brothers and our trans sisters, because there's
different needs.
There's different needs.
Yes.
And it's a matter of making sure that if we can't serve those needs, who can we refer them to?
Okay.
And that's the important part, is having the connection to different organizations that we can refer someone to help with that care.
So they're not leaving without some sort of an answer or direction in the right way.
Right, absolutely. You know? And it's education. It's educating our medical providers as well. Of, you know, we've all talked about it. We've talked about understanding how people feel. What word am I thinking of? When you walk in and you feel mislabeled or unseen or judged or all those things, discriminated against because you're gay.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with HIV. When you walk into a medical provider's office in the lobby, there's several I can go into, and I can sit in the lobby and I can tell you based on what they say to the front window, whether they're HIV positive or not.
Wow.
And I look at that and go, that's a problem, because there's disclosure, not that, you know, I mean, it's all going to happen.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, we got to find a way to protect everyone. And we got to make sure our doctors, our front office staff, our nurses are all fully aware. And I feel like we continue to do that. We offer classes. There's training programs that we're constantly, going through. We obviously went through the HEI application last year through HRC and got a very high score for that, which was awesome, which shows that our policies and procedures are in place.
Yes.
You know, they've checked our policies, and we're not one of those, like some of these other companies that are going to go, okay, we're changing our mind now. We don't want it now.
Yeah.
Because that's not us.
No, it's not us.
Yeah.
And, preventative care is so important, Vaughn. It's just so important. A lot of our whole community won't go get checked out for things.
No.
Because they've gone down the rabbit hole, maybe at straight places and been treated a certain way, and they don't want to go through that feeling anymore. Who the hell wants to be treated that way or feel that way, right? Or feel inadequate or talk to a provider that doesn't know shit about our community, I mean, HIV and AIDS prevention, and care is very important to you. You are always talking about it, and very important to Holy Cross. Why is it so important to Holy Cross when, again, it's, kind of geared by a religious entity?
It's because it's a problem in our community.
For
We're number one in the country. Number one for new infections.
Yeah, it's not something to brag about, for sure.
And the amazing thing to me is it's our it's the 50-plus crowd. It's when you look at as I've said this before, when you look at a worldwide view of HIV, more than 50% is women.
Black women also are number one, correct? Right.
Yes. So depends on where you dissect it. I was just at the Ryan White conference in D.C. and I was talking to a group up in Michigan, and we were talking, kind of comparing like strategies, and they were
like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? And I'm like, well, how many Ryan White clients do you have? And they're like 160 across 30 counties. And I go, we have 8,000 just in Broward.
One.
So, and then I was like, what are you doing for advertising and outreach? And they're like, we can't really do anything because we're the Great White North, which means no literature, no information, is all just solid white people.
Wow.
So I'm looking at it going, we're constantly fighting, say we want to make sure we're having all of our demographics covered.
Yeah.
We need black men, black women, we need brown, we need straight, we need gay, we need our transgender populations, our non-binary, we need them all encapsulated so that we can reach them.
Yeah.
Up there in other areas that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, whoa, wait a minute,
But also, didn't that also like make you go, wow, we are doing the work. Like we really are doing the work, I mean, especially people forget we're in Florida.
Right.
Where every other day, like we're always watching our backs to see what the governor's gonna, do against us this week,
Right.
Do you think that we'll eradicate HIV/AIDS in our lifetime?
That's my goal. I'm not going to stop working until it is in my lifetime. That's, I see with injectables coming out now going every 2 months to take, versus taking a pill every day.
I know.
Same with prevention.
Yeah.
I mean, we just did a story not too long ago about it's going to be every 6 months for
that PrEP. Is so incredible.
Imagine, and they did the studies on women to start with.
Yeah.
Which that's just amazing. So
But
it's a game changer.
It really is a game changer. Just think about it. There are just so many disparities between, in our communities.
Right.
We're not we need cars, we need transportation to get places.
Right.
Like there's just so many different aspects that unfortunately, we have to go over, that have to come first before we deal with medical care.
Right.
And the fact that they didn't want to allow trans folks to have like a telehealth visit with somebody, that limits the ability to take care of our siblings.
Thank God for COVID though, because that's changed the telehealth
Very
world.
true. Very true.
If it wasn't for COVID,
you're right.
We would not probably still have telehealth today.
You're right. I
mean,
you're right. It's true, right? Those damn Zooms. You're muted. You're muted. God, I hated that. But I did love that I never wore pants. Anyway, let's talk about Vaughn now.
Okay.
Are you cool with that?
Absolutely.
Please. All right. Do you consider yourself a leather bear?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I know, I love the leather community, and I know that the leather community is super important to you. You know, like and again, you don't need to put yourself in a box or anything, but I mean,
I'm a daddy to begin with.
Okay.
I do have a colored boy.
Okay.
So, and I've been really involved with them when I first moved down here in Indiana. Before I moved here, I was just starting in my leather journey.
Okay.
And then our leather bar shut down.
Ooh.
So it was like,
and that was where?
And then that was Indianapolis.
Okay.
So then I started going to Chicago every weekend, and I actually met a mentor, woman in the leather community, who was kind of my mentor.
Oh, I love
kind of getting me started and figuring out the navigation of what I wanted to do. And
what was her name?
Isa.
Okay.
Isa Arden. She's now in the East Coast, but wonderful individual. But she kind of taught me kind of the ropes, and when I would go to events like IML and Qual and some of those things across the country, it was a great experience to be with her, to learn things from a different perspective. And then came down here, and I was so embraced by the leather community and just by the community in general. I was like, I found home, because my mom wanted me to move to Tampa, which is where she is.
Okay.
Or Bradenton, as I like to call it, Tampa, not Bradenton. But she
same shit.
Yeah, it is. I go, Mom, my people aren't there. They're not. They're over here.
Yeah, and you're so close. You can be there in 2 hours, please.
Exactly.
Right. You refer to yourself as queer.
I do.
Right? And I do too sometimes.
Yep.
And I think for the same reasons, like it's just kind of encompasses everything, in one. And I know that some people still have like a weird connotation with queer because maybe they were threatened with it or bullied with it as a kid. And I think that that's one of those words that we kind of took back.
That's the exact reason why.
Oh, please.
You take that back, so then you own it.
Oh, okay.
You're empowered then, because it's like, I identify as queer. Now what?
Yeah.
What are you going to throw at me now?
Yeah, like now what are you going to say? It doesn't hurt me.
It doesn't.
I'm a proud queer person.
I'll put it on. I'll write it down. I have no problem saying it. And if you own, it's a lot of things. When you own things about yourself, then nobody can hold it over your head. And that's what I enjoy in life.
I think that's true. Yeah. That's true. Like, I guess that's kind of how I am with my sobriety journey. Like, I tell everybody about it because you can't hold it against me.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And once you keep a secret, then you're kind of ashamed of it, right? And I'm not ashamed of the fact that I went through that.
And how much of us have dealt with that all of our lives?
All of our lives.
Yeah,
hiding.
Of course, I came out late in life.
That's what I was going to ask you next. Yeah. Get out of my head. You came out late in life.
Yeah,
I mean, and it seems that when you came out, you came flying out. But I doubt that that's the truth. You're a dad of 2 grown-ass people.
Yeah. So
Did you always know?
No. That was the very, and I've gone to therapy about this, because I really...
You wanted to know, because you are that person that wants to know why.
So grew up in basically a very rural county in Indiana. And I think my high school class, I graduated in 1982 with like 82 students. So now they're in the thousands, right, when they're graduating.
Wow.
So it's like, and I'm still in touch with a lot of those high school kids.
I love that.
And a lot of them are out now, which is interesting. A lot of the football players. But yeah. So anyway, no, I lived my life taking care. I did what was expected of me. I was expected to get married. I was expected to have kids, have a family. And it was my responsibility to take care of that. Well, in that process, and I was married for 32 years, I ate myself up to 600 pounds.
Wow.
Never really understood why, but knew that we weren't happy. We were really good friends. Me and I don't like to call her my ex-wife, but my mother and my children are really good friends
still to this day.
We still talk. We talk at least, I would say, at least every other week. And she's with a guy that she should be with. And I'm okay with that. It's about being happy, right?
Yes, completely.
And she wants me to be happy. So it was very difficult coming out when I finally realized it, because I got a divorce and I moved away from them and moved downtown. Started working on myself, working on diet, health, trying to focus on me. And then I was dating a woman at the time, and I didn't realize the bar I was in was a gay bar. Of all things. She was a Harley driver. She drove motorcycles, you know. So we were dating, having fun, and I kept getting hit on by these guys. And I'm like, what the hell? And finally it was like one night, I don't know what it was. I just said, okay, sure.
Right.
You know, and I did the whole bisexual thing for a little while. And
that night did like stars pop and like fireworks? Like, did you go, wow, I really like this?
But I really evaluated, like, what is it that I'm attracted to?
Okay.
I wanted to really look at it. So then when I went into therapy, because then it was like, okay, now I'm coming out gay. And at the time, I could not tell my work. That was one of those secrets. You have to, it's like, oh, I can't let everybody know. So it was letting people, I let my daughter know, who was the first person, and because she was gay. And
was or is?
Okay. Was, not now. She's with a, Okay. It's confusing.
No problem.
But
listen, journey. I get it.
It is, and I'm okay with that. But
so you told her.
I told her, and then she was just like, at first I thought, okay, this is going to be exciting, right? Because, you know, gay dad, lesbian daughter. Let's go. Took her to her first Pride, which was in Chicago, and but before I could tell her mother, I would actually come to Florida to see my mom, because I was like, I need to tell my mom, and I want to tell her face to face. I don't want to call her on the phone.
Yeah.
And while I was here in Florida, my daughter called me. She goes, you got to call mom and tell her right now. I can't keep this secret. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, no, you know, let me do that to her. I owe it to her. It's my story to tell, not yours.
Yes.
Right?
Completely.
But she ended up telling her mother, but nonetheless, you know, I did have that talk with her. And because the one thing I wanted her to feel like was she didn't make me gay, right? It wasn't that I was gay all my life and I was miserable because of it. I probably was, but that moment I hadn't recognized that.
Yeah, you put that away.
And then talking to therapists, they're like, because I found humans to be attractive. I see men and women all the time, and they're beautiful. Yeah. It's their soul. It's I'm an energy person, so I sense energy in people.
I love that.
And for me, it's a matter of, there's beauty in that. And so I always went through life seeing it that way. And then it was like, no, I'm gay. And I'm like, okay. And then the whole queer thing came out, because I got tired of the people who take shame in a word.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I see that in the Black community. And then I started dating interracially. And that was a whole challenge too. So it was like, when I found my therapist, I'm like, look, I got to deal with this. I got to deal with Black Lives Matter. I've got to deal with things. I grew up not even knowing a single person that was Black in my community.
Are you serious? Wow.
So it was like, there was something I had no knowledge of. You know, and so it was a big learning process. And I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner.
And you really are. And I love that. And that's something I learned in AA, is to stay teachable. Keep on learning. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. Things change. And your evolution is important.
Right.
Are you still with this gentleman?
No. When COVID struck, he got ill and decided to move back to Chicago. So we broke up.
Okay.
And since then, I mean, we're still friends. We talk quite a bit, actually. But been dating, you know, I was in that singles magazine. Still hasn't brought me anybody yet. I need somebody. We need somebody.
Most eligible bachelor, okay? Vaughn Biggs, hello, call.
Yes, please.
And that great picture that they used. I love that. Yeah. Out South Florida, like, just really, they hit it right out of the park. Great job with that. And having Cal Gougerage featured. Thank you, Bestie.
There are quite a few of us on there.
Yes.
And some of them have dated, I think. There's been some of the singles that have dated each other. And I was like, wait a minute, what's over here? But, so yeah, it's just been a fabulous journey. And people have told me, like, I've lived many lives.
You're an old soul.
Because I've had that heterosexual life, you know, married life. I have kids. I have 2 wonderful kids. I have 2 grandkids. My son, who just bought his very first home. So I'm so excited for him that he's able to do that.
And how's your son with this?
He struggles.
Okay. Still, or at the
both
beginning?
Both of them, they both still struggle, because they feel like, in a way, they feel like I knew my whole life.
Okay.
And I just kept it a secret.
And you can understand how they would think that, because, you know, 8 out of 10 people, that's usually the case, where they're, you know, they're just bringing it down, pushing it down with food or with other things. And, you know, I mean.
And like I tell them, okay, what if I did know? Now what?
Yeah, what does it change?
Well, it doesn't change
anything. It doesn't change anything.
Right.
But I mean, even if you knew, you were happy. You still smiled with your ex-wife and your children.
Yep,
you know,
absolutely.
You still had wonderful times.
Yep. Oh,
you know,
wonderful
and
memories.
And the things that people get so upset when relationships are over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get it because you're so used to a person and things happen, and you become comfortable and stuff like that.
Right.
But the reality is, Vaughn, that everything has a freaking expiration.
Yes.
Milk has an expiration, okay? It's a reason, season, lifetime.
Yep. You can grow out of something.
That.
It is.
And it doesn't mean that the person's bad or that you're bad or anything. Sometimes you hit a crossroad and the person's going right and you're going left and you say, I wish you well. I love you. We'll talk soon.
Yes, absolutely. Edify people, lift them up.
Lift them up.
Let them enjoy their journey.
Yes. Yep. Your ex-wife had her own journey to deal with. If you wouldn't have been brave enough, because I think it takes such bravery. I think the older you get, the more bravery it takes to come out, because you're young and fluid and that's why all the girls, we practice in college, right? Because it's okay, right? It's okay, you know, but I think it takes, so I believe that your son and daughter will come around 100%.
Oh, yeah.
It just takes people some time. And, you've had more time to deal with it than they have.
Right. Exactly. And I've worked on it.
And you've worked on it and they haven't.
No, right.
So, Vaughn, it's a crucial election year. It's crucial. And your mission statement really got to me because it's so important, especially now. Vaughn says, I want to promote a powerful call to action that ignites true commitment and widespread involvement within our community. It's time for fresh voices to step up and make a difference, not just the same individuals over and over again. I want to empower everyone to use their voice, fostering an environment where we uplift and support each other rather than tearing down those who may have made mistakes. Together, we can eradicate stigma, biases, hatred, and the divisive mean girls mentality, creating a united and inclusive community. How does that wash over you? I mean, that is it right there.
It's emotional.
That's it. It should be emotional.
It is, because we build our own walls between the LGBTQ and the plus. We built them ourselves.
Yeah.
It's the what about me? What about me? Oh, you got to do that. I hear so many meetings when I go into and talk about Ryan White and the people in the community. And they'll go, the Black community, the transgender community. And it's like all valid. But nobody goes back and says, what about the white community? No one's focusing on that group. Not that, and it's like, they're like, oh, you guys are all taken care of. No, we're just struggling like everybody else. And it's a matter of when can we start sitting around the table and not saying me, and we.
It's just so hard, Vaughn, because again, we're so marginalized. We all have our trauma. We all don't feel seen. And I'm not trying to talk for everybody. I'm just saying, collectively, we want our voices to be heard. And sometimes we're screaming about what's wrong in our world, and we're not listening to what's wrong in your sister or brothers or they, thems in front of you that is going through something similar. We're all going through something similar. Not the same, but similar, it's been more recently, I think maybe the last 2 years that I have made it a point, as I believe I have massive privilege. I am a brown lesbian, okay, but I don't look brown. And if I don't talk, which is difficult, you won't know that I'm Latina, but because of, I didn't learn about that. I didn't learn about that until I started hanging around with my Black and brown trans sisters that showed me, yes, you get to do this. I don't. You get to walk into the store with no problem, do this, this, and this, and nobody looks, the other way, okay? I go into the store and this and this and this happens. It never came to me that was what was going on. So now when I sit at a table and we're putting a group together, I say, where's the tea? Right? That's me. That's me. I don't say where's the white guy, because there's usually at least 3 of you there.
Yeah, right. True.
But the mission statement got me, because it's true. I do feel that in a lot of cases, it's the same people screaming and screaming and screaming. We're losing quite a few people that are advocates and are huge supporters of our community are retiring soon.
They're exhausted too.
Right. We burn EDs out down here because there's just so much to do.
Right. Yep.
So that touched me, because it's true. We've got to inspire and mentor those next people.
Exactly.
And do whatever it takes.
Yep.
I
agree.
You were just spotlighted in Out SFL for the Out 50 also, right? I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
How did that feel to you?
And
in high gloss and everything.
I know, right? I was like,
because I love out South Florida, but they're a newspaper, right? So, it's a newspaper with that feeling. But
I was in the Ryan White conference and I saw that it came out and I actually texted my boss and told her it was out. And she texted me and go, I got you 25 copies. So I'm like, oh!
Can I tell you that your boss is the sweetest lady in ever? Ever.
A godsend.
Shout out to you.
Yes.
Because, it doesn't matter where I'm at, and she could be surrounded by 3 people talking business. Because, there's a different business face that you put on when you're talking about, you're like, right? When you're talking about, like, sex stuff, you're like, right? So she was, like, real serious. She will stop what she's doing and come over and, hi, Faye, how are you? Is there anything I can do? I'm like, do for me? What can I do for you, lady? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she is that person, and she's a freaking ally.
She is. She has an amazing story that I won't tell, but you'll have to get her in this bed and have her tell her story of growing up, why she's the ally that she is.
I would love that.
And even seeing her daughter, who's off in college, and she's come out to some of the events with her. She is another strong ally. She just wants to help and just be part of the community and sees the need.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And that comes from her parents. That comes from her parents' parents. That's generational.
It is. It really is. Just like the trauma.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
You've got an incredible crew over there, she's amazing. I love Jason. I like Jason because he's hot. That's really all about it. Once he starts talking. I have a great video of him singing Britney that I have to send to you.
Oh, really?
I took, secretly.
Oh.
Hi, Jason.
Yes. Oh.
You posted a picture that I loved. You posted a picture with my picture.
Absolutely.
Right? So when I was on the cover of Outclick a couple months back, you were reading the article and you posted a picture of yourself looking sexy as hell. With a cigarette, right? We're going to show you the picture. I was like blown away. It was like my favorite post. And people were posting all the time of themselves with the magazine. And this one was my favorite of all, right? And so then when I see him, I'm like, I didn't even know you freaking smoked, right? Because he had like a cigarette in his hand, right? And he just looked very like James Dean. Like, it was just like leather James Dean, right? Like in 2024. I loved it, And then you told me you don't even smoke.
No.
How did that all happen?
Well, I had thought about doing it because I wanted to take it from my bed and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, I had the ring light set up in the bed and everything to make sure I had the lighting right because you're always telling me about lighting.
Lighting is important.
Right. So then I was out the night before and I was at Alibis and a friend of mine was there and she's like, I'm gonna go out and smoke. And I went, can I have one of those cigarettes?
So you got a prop.
I did.
From a friend.
Said I need a prop, right? And that's how it happened.
And you got home and you put the right lighting on and you were there.
I mean, even, our friend Francesca was like, I needed a cigarette after.
Oh my God. I love Francesca. Francesca, the more we love you, we love you, love you. So we're going to end today's interview with a little game that we call Say What with FayWhat. Okay? So it's a lightning round and I just tell you a couple things real quick. I give you an option of 2 things and you choose one of them quickly. Okay? It's just a nice little way to get to know Vaughn a little differently. All right? Ready? All right. Saltburn or baby reindeer?
Saltburn.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Baseball cap to the front or to the back?
Neither.
Salad bar or dessert bar?
Oh, dessert bar.
Chocolate or cookies and cream ice cream?
Oh, chocolate.
Tight ass or giving good face?
I'll take the good face.
Drive or be driven?
Ooh. Be driven.
Okay, yeah. Little Nas X or Eminem?
Eminem.
Whole Foods or Publix?
Oh, Whole Foods.
Jeep or convertible?
Convertible.
Chinese or sushi?
Sushi.
Oprah Winfrey or Michelle Obama?
Ooh, Michelle.
Morning sex or shower sex?
All day sex.
Basketball or baseball?
Which ones are those?
Wow. Michael B. Jordan or Michael Jordan?
Oh, Michael B. Jordan.
So freaking hot. Madonna or Cyndi Lauper?
Madonna.
Oprah or Deepak Chopra?
Oprah.
Voting in person or mail-in ballot?
In person.
In person.
In person.
All you people at home, bring in your ballot and vote, okay? In November, they'll tear it up and you can vote right there, all right? Sandwich on a white roll or on a croissant?
Croissant.
Bingo or cornhole?
Oh, cornhole.
iPhone or Android?
Android only.
Wow. A tattoo that you'd get if it was washable?
I don't know, because I have a whole leg sleeve.
And it's beautiful. Can you do a kick? Can you do a leg kick? Yeah, wait. Right, we just did. I might have given you a view that you might have wanted to see, so that's okay. All right, all right, Von Biggs, look into that camera and give them your best FayWhat.
FayWhat.
All right, thank you, Von Biggs, for being you and for being on the FayWhat show. Follow Von and everything that he is doing in between espresso martinis on Facebook at Von Biggs, IG at Von Biggs Artist, and make sure that you also follow Holy Cross. They're always doing incredible things in our community. They are getting the word out, so you know that you are seen.
Yes.
You will be taken care of by a qualified, intelligent, and trained professional that will know how to help you with your healthcare needs.
Absolutely.
Right?
If not, call me.
If not, call him or messenger him or whatever it is. Trust me, he will answer. All right? Von Biggs, Holy Cross, thank you so much for being.
Thank you, love.
I love you, Papi.
I love you.
And I love this little outfit that you're wearing.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to steal it if I put a belt on or something. I'll figure it out. We'll be right back.